It's time for Sports Extra Extra.
It has been exactly 30 years since the Rangers won that beloved Stanley Cup. And joining us now from that beloved 1994 Rangers championship team, two-time Stanley Cup champion, Hockey Hall of Famer, a legend whose numbers 9 hangs in the Madison Square Garden rafters, and a friend of Sports Extra, Adam Graves. Adam, how are you?
Fantastic, Tina. And as you said, the springtime, it's April now. And we know playoffs are right around the corner, so we're all excited.
This has been an exciting time of year. The last several years with the New York Rangers. Let's start with just the atmosphere that you have seen at the Garden. I mean, I would say since the holidays. Are you able to compare it, to that particular year? I mean, you played 10 seasons with the Rangers. What's it been like watching those games in the Garden this season?
Well, I would say a couple things. Similarities, where obviously the Ranger team is outstanding, and we're sitting in first overall right now, and we were first overall President's Trophy winners back in '94. And as well, the Knicks and how good the Knicks have been playing, and what an excellent team they have. So combine that, the energy, and then 2 years ago when the Rangers went on that run and came back against Pittsburgh, that was the first time for me in a long time where you saw the energy get back to that level it was in the 90s, where John Amarante sing the national anthem. You can't hear him sing like when we were in the finals in '94. So that part of it is so exciting. And for me as a Ranger fan, I want to be sitting in my seat 10 minutes before the game starts and see all the build-up and that special energy that you can only have at the Garden.
You brought up the President's Trophy, and it's so funny listening to Sports Talk Radio right now. Some fans are a little uneasy with where the Rangers are standing right now because recently, obviously not '94, there's been like that curse. If the team wins the President's Cup trophy, they don't necessarily win the Stanley Cup. What is the best situation for the Rangers to finish the season?
First overall, yeah, absolutely, because then you have your guaranteed home ice, and I will tell you that in '94, if we don't have Game 7 against Vancouver in the finals, or in the conference final against the Devils, I'm not sure we win without our fans behind us, and for me, I think it's so important, but at the same time, you just play every game as it comes in every period. You can't look beyond it. They can't look beyond, game 77 and 78 and 79, and you put yourself in the best possible position to succeed. But every team and every matchup is going to be difficult, and you just don't know, especially in a 7-game series, how it's going to go. But to have that home ice advantage in your fans, and certainly Madison Square Garden Ranger fans, nothing like it.
So these last couple of games are still going to be important, and 2 of them are against the Islanders, and they are playing for their playoff lives right now. So how can fans, or how should the Rangers players themselves view these games? Is it a test for the postseason because that's going to have a playoff atmosphere, or is it, like you said, just kind of playing out, being the best team you could be? I mean, what's the way they should approach these 2 intense games coming up against the Isles?
Well, again, the Islanders are an excellent hockey club, and certainly extremely well coached by Patrick Waugh, Stanley Cup champion. He's won a Memorial Cup last year, and I think I was at the Outdoor Classic, and the energy, at the Stadium Series game was just incredible. I mean, that is, for me, is a celebration of hockey. And when you see the Islanders and the Rangers playing, you know that you're in for a great game on the ice and a great game, in the stands and in the building, and the energy, and the better that both teams do, the better it is for hockey in the tri-state area. And as you know, hockey in the tri-state area is growing at a ridiculous pace, which is fantastic. A lot of kids with sticks in their hands and excited about the game. And there's so many rinks that are now been built over the last 25, 30 years, and a lot of that is because of that rivalry. So, it's going to be playoff style hockey. And it's almost starts. It actually already started as you prepare for the playoffs, because you can't go in thinking that you're going to turn a switch on. You have to go in ready to play.
Adam, you watch this team so closely, and we are doing all those comparisons to '94. How did this team get here? What is the strength of this Rangers club now as the season's winding down?
Well, I think you can look at a lot of whether you start in the net, obviously with Shesterkin and Quick. To a defense that is organically grown, whether it's a Miller or Snyder, and certainly you have an Adam Fox, and the list goes on, and Captain Trouba, and then to their leadership group up front, whether it's Panarin or Kreider or Sabanajad. But for me, it's a team concept. and they depend on each other on a nightly basis, and they have real balance from lines 1 to 4. And Coach Laviolette, he plays and he likes to play all 4 lines and rolls them. Their special teams are strong, but I think this is a really close-knit group, and that's what I really sense the most. And for me, when you have a talented team, sometimes the difference can be, the belief in each other, and certainly that camaraderie and the belief that together you can't be beat, and certainly something that you have to build on. But there's a lot of, as you know, there's a lot of excellent hockey teams, and there's going to be some excellent hockey teams that aren't going to make the postseason, but there's still the difference between number 1 in the league and number 16 or number 20. It's minuscule, so you have to be ready to play.
Is there someone, despite the team concept, and you look at, I guess, Panarin and Kreider, they're leading the team in goals scored, but is there someone that has to be outstanding to kind of lead them through the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, certainly there's going to be, it's historic in sport that there's always those special players. Watch the NCAA women's basketball.
Great point.
And that's a Canadian talking. I want to watch, just because you see those special players that are able to rise to the occasion. Brian Leach, certainly Conn Smythe Trophy winner. I'm not sure if there's anyone that can match that performance in playoff history. Mark Messier. There's all these players that come up big with the guarantee and certainly big game hockey. He was about as good as they get. So there's always those special players that take that next step, and that's where they become legendary. And so for me, it's not looking in the Rangers locker room saying, who is that going to be? Mm-hmm. It's just a collective, let's get ready to play, because they know that this journey is going to be as tough as you get in hockey, and they're just building towards it.
Adam, it seems like yesterday when you and I were talking early in the morning about opening night, we were in the Garden, they were still setting up the ice for the home opener, and you were talking about the changes and the things that Peter Laviolette was going to implement to take this team to the next level, to the promised land. What were some of the things that he did implement that absolutely worked to get us here?
Well, I think first of all, you look at the development of some of the younger players that are playing. I think that when you look at their systems as a whole, they're playing a little bit of a different system, and that doesn't happen overnight. You can't just change your system in training camp and think that you're going to be ready to go game 1. It is a process, and I think you see that 5-on-5. I think it's a tighter system. I think they all believe in the system, but he just has a way that he just brings people together, and that's the type of coach he is. I think that the players, you can see that he keeps everyone obviously accountable, but at the same time, I think he's all about that family team feel. And I think you can really see it. This team has really come together. Whether you're a rookie like Cooley or you're a guy like Trouba that's been around for a lot of years, or Kreider. It's just a close-knit group, and it's exciting. And as a fan, you're watching every game, and you can see the evolution of these players and how the teams come together. It's exciting.
What has Matt Rempe added to this team when he's out there on the ice?
Well, certainly he's obviously a young guy that's a physical player, but for me, which that isn't talked about enough, is he can play the game. And he has the ability to really, for me, he can change the momentum of a game, and he can get in on the forecheck, and he does a lot of great things with and without the puck. And a young guy, and he's just finding his way, and certainly he's a big part of that locker room now, and he's earned that right to play in the National Hockey League and wear that jersey, because I've always said, being a Ranger, it's a privilege to put that jersey on, and he's one of 23, 24 guys that are on that team, whether you're playing every night or whether you're playing one shift or for 15 shifts in a game. You're just as equally as important to the outcome of the game and outcome of where you want to get to, because I will tell you, back in '94, we had guys like Eddie Olchuk who didn't maybe play as much as other guys. We don't win without Eddie, and it was as simple as that, because he was that important to who we were as a team, and I think every player in that locker room understands that.
Going back to the family concept, you could clearly comes from the head coach, all the way down and all the way through the blue seats. Fans are excited about what is on the plate for them for next year. So Adam, tell me the latest on season ticket holders and this special thing that Madison Square Garden and the New York Rangers are kind of doing for their ticket sales for next year.
Well, they're staying the same as 23-24. Next season, the prices will remain the same, and certainly, you know, as Ranger fans, they're the best in the National Hockey League. And as I've said, it's a privilege to play in front of them, and I am one of those fans now, so I get to sit up there and watch this team that I certainly respect and love so much, and you know, for decades. So yes, ticket prices will remain the same for next season, which is fantastic for our fans, because they are the best in the National Hockey League, and I would tell you at the Garden in New York, the best.
It's an early gift for those fans, even before the playoffs start. Love hearing that. I know fans are thrilled. So, Adam, you know, as we reflect back, and I know you say you're a fan now, but I want you to take us back to '94. What do you remember about these particular couple, like 2 weeks before the playoffs started? What were you guys talking about in the locker room as you were preparing for this? What do you remember?
You know, it was 30 plus years ago. No, I'm just kidding.
You don't remember last year?
No, I just, for
4
me,
decades ago.
For me, the playoffs always, it was that change of weather. And and I remember as a kid going out and playing street hockey, ball hockey up in Canada. And you'd have the curbs and you'd have all the sand, because they drop sand in the winter after the snow, and that would and you'd be out there shooting the ball and everything else. And for me, it was that feeling that the most exciting time to play the game, because I always looked at the game, and I still play today, even as an older player. I still love to play. And when you get to the springtime, the weather starts to change, and you can see more people are out, and the excitement, especially around the Garden, and certainly, as I said earlier, with the Knicks and the Rangers. And you see all the different restaurants with the Rangers, emblem and the Knick emblem, and the energy, and people are talking about it. And for me, it's the build up and the excitement and the unknown, because you don't know. They don't know. We're 2 weeks out, and we have no idea who the Rangers are playing the first round and who goes on to. You have to get past that first team, who's going to be a tough matchup, because in the National Hockey League, that first round, you don't know. There's teams that have been in the 8th seed that go right to the finals, or even win it with LA 8-10 years ago. So you just don't know who you're going to play, and for that reason, you have to be prepared and be respectful and really honor who you are as a team and get ready as a team.
I can't believe that LA series was that long ago now. My goodness, that final series. Canyon of Heroes. What's your biggest memory you take from going down the Canyon of Heroes in the Rangers Stanley Cup Championship Parade?
It was one of those pinch yourself, you can't believe you're actually experiencing this, and I'll never forget, because took the Metro North train in.
Did you really?
From Westchester with my fiance, which is now my wife of 30 years, and I'll never forget, because we were in one car, and then by the time we got down into the city, we were in 3 or 4 cars, and the train and
what were people saying to you?
Oh, we were just doing the goal song. Oh, it was amazing. Let's go Ranger chant. It was just terrific. And then getting to the parade, and you're thinking you're going down from block to block, and then you look down each block, and there was hundreds of people, and I remember the parade more vividly than some of the games. And people say about a player, you put it on and obviously watch it.
Yeah,
but actually being at the parade, and for me, it was just what it meant to everyone. You didn't have to be a player, a coach, management. Every fan had ownership of that, and that's the best part of this organization that's been around for coming up on 100 years, is that everyone owns part of it. Because of those special memories. We all own those special memories, that what the team means to you. And when you get to playoff time, it's a celebration of all those memories and the generations of fans, whether it's grandkids to dads and moms to grandma and grandpa, the whole generational thing. It's terrific.
So obviously your children were born after you won both of your Stanley Cups. What do you tell them about that? They're all adults now. Is it 3 girls and a boy, or 2 girls and a boy?
2 girls and a boy.
2 girls and a boy. What do they ask you questions? What do you tell them about what it was like to win and experience things like that parade?
It hasn't come up lately.
Really? When they were little kids?
I'm Dad.
No way.
Yeah,
Wow.
no, you know what? they know it's there, but there's so much, as we all know, there's so much going on, and I actually think they're equally, if not more, engaged in the current team, and they're big fans. We all bleed Ranger blue, and certainly, as I'm excited, my entire family's excited to watch this Ranger team, and proud because I love the character in that locker room.
Mm-hmm. And your oldest daughter's a New Yorker. She was born in New York.
Yes.
Oh, we're all three kids?
Our youngest too.
Your youngest too. That's
yes.
right. So, well, Adam, thank you so much. Love always reminiscing with you about '94, and I know fans, they always tell me, oh, we love when Adam talks about, the '94 team, but really appreciate your time and breaking down, what the Rangers have in store for these 2024 Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, Tina, I can't wait, and it's always a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you so much. Adam Graves, the legend, ladies and gentlemen, and a friend of Sports Extra, and we'll be right back.